with operations, is that something that you tend to gravitate towards? Because I find a lot of artists, like it's interesting or fascinating to to want to know about the stuff, but as soon as they get exposed to it, it's just like, yeah, I'll get out of the spreadsheets and go back to the box, please. So
yeah, a bit of the deer in the headlights, right? I mean, honestly, one of the reasons that signed up for the artistic role is because I'm not only interested but distracted by bright and shiny objects, contrasty colors, things of that nature. And some of the department heads I work with, it's clear they have production genetics within them, very, very organized. They have the larger vision for planning and things like that. And I leverage that, because I realize, hey, I think I might be organized. And then I see that and you're like, whoa, okay, awesome. Well, how can we use this? How can we put it together? And again, it's kind of like maybe a manager. And I mean, when I say a manager, I'm thinking of like football, soccer, or a coach in terms of, hey, leveraging the strengths here and there to see how it makes it an easy lift for everyone. Pulleys, levers, all that stuff. Work smarter, not harder. Let the machines do the work. So in terms of spreadsheets and things of that nature, admittedly, Allan, I'm usually not putting them together. I am, data points, things like that, action items, things that we need to talk about, next steps. But there are other people that are very good at it on the team that help to keep track of all that, even to the point of, some people in the C-suite are, back 2 years ago, well, right here you said this. And I'm like, oh, you captured what I said, but you didn't capture the context. So what it really meant was, you got to be careful with the stenographers around. But yeah, I think it really means helping to have a larger voice in the overall creative planning and process for the 30, 60, 90 or near, mid, and long term, and being able to build on that game plan from a creative aspect. It's really not as much of a spreadsheets and Excel docs, which are the same thing, but it's not as much that is making sure that we're covered on the creative arm of the company.
I think most of my career I've been very fascinated by both pipeline and the business side. So I mean, a lot more about how to make things work better. At least from my career, I was always kind of, whenever I go to a studio, I was always looking at, oh, okay, these guys tend to lean more on automation. Is that better for them or worse? And there's obviously a lot of benefits to it, but it also means you tend to move a lot slower. And then you go like Blur Studio back in like early 2000. I've said this to Tim plenty of times, like, this company shouldn't exist because of how it's ran. It's just, you're pretty much just wheeling over with a floppy disk and saying, here's the asset. Because everyone was senior, it meant everyone was more self-contained and it just worked really fluid. So there's all these different variables at play. I think looking at like what works, what doesn't work, it means that you can kind of figure out what to pocket and, over time build up like, okay, like this seems to be the recipe that tends to work best.